right, we're back for another episode of the Cheap Seats. Ben's, we got a lot of sports to talk about. You ready for this?
Yeah, man. Cheap seats in the house. Let's go.
So big month in sports. NFL stuff, Major League Baseball's kicking into full swing. Finally, NBA playoffs. A little extra treat at the end to talk about, but we're going to talk about all those things today. So hopefully you've done some homework and ready to go.
I always like the stuff with the NFL draft. I've done some homework, but it's like they need to play some games to see how it actually went, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like a lot of talk leading up to it, and everyone has their projections, and we'll see how it all shakes out. But I think the draft is a good place to start, right? That was kind of the big news the past few weeks leading up to last week. Were you all in on the draft? Is this like a must-watch appointment TV for you on that first night of the draft?
Yeah, it definitely was. And it's like I mean, all the mock drafts that I did, it really took some of my time. I don't know about you. I mean, did you watch it? Were you wrapped up in it?
I think I was. Where was I? I had something. So it was one of those scenarios where I was following it on my phone because I was just out of the house. But I did not do any mock drafts before. I know you did a bunch. I know a bunch of people did, trying to like see what you thought was going to happen. It seems like it went the way everybody thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
Right? At least for that first like 10 picks, maybe.
There's a big area for me that is constantly reminded of like a certain few that I follow for the Boston media. They always have everything right within a few days, and I always overlook what they're saying just because I think I know what I'm talking about more than they do. But man, everybody had Campbell going to the Pats, and it
Everybody did.
wasn't the dude. It wasn't the sexy choice, but it's the right choice.
Yeah. So hold the thought on Campbell
Okay,
because I
hold on.
want to talk about Cam Ward for a second
Yeah,
because I feel like he's kind of been overshadowed in this whole thing, right? The guy was basically the consensus number one pick. Everyone knew he was going to be for many weeks at this point. But it's like,
yeah,
yeah, they picked him, and then like I barely have even heard his name mentioned in the past week.
dude. I don't know. I like the kid just as a human because there was some stuff with him throwing footballs with Sanders where Sanders was more like about his brand and like just doing everything outside of football and kind of needling Ward. And Ward's like, no, man, I'm here to throw footballs. I'm here to win football games. I like doing this full time. So if you're a fan of that team, aren't you excited about getting that kid?
Hey man, it's a quarterback league, and Tennessee has not had a good quarterback in a while, so hopefully it works out. But it seems like even with the number one picks, it's just a coin flip as to whether or not it'll even pan out with him. I mean, he seems like the guy to draft. But I think we were talking about in the office. If this was any other draft, he maybe like if he was. I think we were talking about it yesterday. If he was in last year's draft, he'd be the seventh QB taken, or that's what
Yeah.
people say. So it is
Yeah.
kind of a weak class from that point of view.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I had this thought too, where it's like, remember back in the day, anything Deion Sanders had your eyes. What was Deion doing? Who was he playing for? Was he playing wide receiver? Was he going to get some reps at wide receiver? Was he going to pick one and do his dance? This NFL draft reminded me of everything Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. Cam Ward deserved more run.
Yeah, he. We'll see how it goes as we get into spring training. It's only a few months away, but just as a number one pick, consensus number one pick, he's just like, yeah, they picked him, and then it's on to the next guys. It's because honestly, I thought the star of the draft, at least in my eyes, was Travis Hunter. So that was the prize for me. That was the guy when we were entering into week 18 as the team with the worst record, thinking like we're going to get Travis Hunter. And even for a second, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe Sanders will go to the Giants, and maybe they'll take someone else will take Carter, and Travis Hunter will fall in our lap. But like once Jacksonville traded up for him, and that was the pick, like that was just to me that was the story outside of what's happening with Sanders, which we'll get to. But like he was the prize possession.
Can you have a guy that wants to play both ways and do it successfully? No, he wants to do it. Is he going to be good at it? I don't know. We'll see.
It seems impossible. I don't know. He could prove us wrong, and he would be a true unicorn. But dude, it's a lot of work to be an elite receiver. It's a lot of work to be an elite shutdown cornerback. To think that you could do both of those things effectively in a game, like you have enough gas in the tank to to do those? Like, wouldn't you just be better off to dedicate all of your energy to one side of the ball and like truly dominating? Like, even if he has some success, it's like how much more success would he have on either one of them if he just focused on it? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of question marks in this draft. It's deep in certain areas. It was very thin in others. The talent pool, the beginning of the draft was kind of questionable, but again, I don't know. I guess we got to see it. We got to see these guys perform, see how it goes. I know it's such a weak take, but every year we get so excited or disappointed in these drafts.
So Carter seems like he was a star. You know,
Oh,
like it would have been nice to get that kid.
he looks good in the Giants uniform, doesn't he?
Giants already have a decent defensive line. Some people would say that's like one of the strengths of their team right now. So I guess good for them. Just taking the best player in the draft instead of just focusing on your needs. But I thought maybe we had a chance at him too. End of the day, I think I'm happy with Will Campbell. I think he's kind of run on me. I don't know what it's been for you. Like I was definitely disappointed, and I definitely knew that we needed a tackle. And Drake May was getting killed last year, and this is going to be his guy for the foreseeable future. But I was definitely bummed at first, and now I'm a little bit warmer to the whole thing.
If you throw aside like all of the podcasts that came out about his arm length, and you just watch the film and you listen to him talk passionately about protecting his quarterback, if you're the Pats, because we've had these line issues for at least 3 years now, like this is a big draft pick for us. This like fixes everything. You got your left tackle, you got your quarterback. It's like best case scenario, but all you can think about is arm length. Like that even mattered a couple years ago.
Did that mean that share in our string where it was like him with like the mini arms, and there was all kinds of like T-Rex things, and dude, his arms were 1 inch shorter than they're supposed to be. Yeah, I guess for his height or something like that. But the guy's a freaking stud left tackle. Like he basically like shut down the left side of the line for LSU, and like no one could get to the quarterback. So, I mean, what more could you really ask for a tackle prospect? He's gonna be awesome.
Some positives that I heard. So he's mean. He loves finishing blocks, pancaking people. Like he's got that anger side to him where he just wants to like he just wants to run you over.
Yeah.
Dude, can you comment on like the thought of like linemen when they're good at quote unquote bending? Like that's all I hear about now is if a lineman can bend or not. So apparently he's good at that.
You seen that video of him squatting like 650 pounds and winking before he went down and did it?
So, okay, if he's protecting your quarterback, do you want your lineman being in a video where he's winking before he squats 600 pounds? The answer is fucking yes.
Absolutely. I was like, this guy does have a little bit of swagger for a left tackle. And the was going nuts when he did it. And
Yeah.
it sounds like a lot of weight to me. I don't know. Is that like a record or something? I don't know. Like, I mean, 650 seems like very good. I don't know if other guys do 700 or if that's unheard of or whatever, but like the place was going nuts when he did it. And it seems like he's a beloved teammate and what I hope is like a leader for the Pats, which they definitely need on the offensive side of the ball.
When I heard the kid talk, I thought about who was the manager of the Red Sox that got fired for leaving in Grady? Was it Grady Little?
Yeah, great little with the Pedro thing.
Dude, he sounds like Grady Little, doesn't he?
He looks and sounds actually a little goofy to me. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Southern boys. I don't know. It's what it is.
Talking about Bass Pro Shop over there, hunting over here like the great Matt Light used to. So I'm like, all right, I'm in.
You know, he grew on me. So I'll take it. I'll take it. The Sanders slide. What do you think about this whole thing? Like, were you on the edge of your seat waiting to see what happened with him? Like, I mean, I actually kind of felt bad for him. I don't.
Yeah, well, you remember some of these guys like sitting in the draft room way longer than they should have. Rashad Lewis in the NBA, Aaron Rodgers. There's a bunch of guys that slid. Kind of end up feeling bad for them. I guess the stuff that I didn't like personally was just like some of the interview stuff that you read after the fact, where he kind of came in with his headphones. He was kind of dismissive. I don't think that looks good if you're a top talent in the quarterback position, where it's like your whole team is dependent upon him. So if that stuff was true, that's a minus for me. The tape was another thing. So I am a tape guy. I started watching a lot on him, and I'm like, I don't know what I thought about the kid. Like, I don't feel like
That's strong. his arm isn't like Joe Burrow or something.
Would you? Yeah, I guess. Can you comment on that? Did you see any of his stuff? I just didn't. I was like, okay, the kid's okay, I guess.
I think just like the hype and the media and the name kind of carried him to being in that conversation in the first round or even the top five. But I mean, I heard some scouts say, if his name was Shadera Williams, he'd be a 6 round pick, and that's what he
Yeah.
was. So I guess end of the day, these NFL guys are going to do what these NFL guys do, and they know how to evaluate talent. That's what he was, a 5th, 6th round guy, and just not a top five. It's just because his dad's Dion, and Colorado was all over TV last year, and he put up some numbers. I think the media got carried away with it, or just people got carried away with it, and he got drafted where he probably was supposed to get drafted.
So the stuff that I just commented on, if it's actually true, it speaks to just how interesting the culture is, where it's like there's a big part of the job that matters for you to come in business like. It's a big thing to have your stuff together to convince a room of guys that look, I could lead this group. I'm worthy of $60 million. If that was taken for granted, I guess he got what he deserved, and hopefully he learns from it, and that ends up being a steal.
Quarterback is the franchise, though, man. It drives the value of the franchise. It drives the ticket sales, all that stuff. So, it is. I didn't read any of that stuff about the interview. I honestly have no idea. I really don't know much about him, to be honest with you. Just kind of stuff that you say or other people say. But if that's the case, then yeah, because you do have to have a certain presence about you, and leadership, and all that stuff. And if he wasn't portraying that stuff, then I guess he got drafted where he was supposed to get drafted. So that is going to be a weird quarterback room in
Yeah.
Cleveland. With
Yes.
Deshaun, Flacco, they got that other kid too. So but he honestly could end up getting, but he could not even make the team, which would be unfortunate for him because once that stuff starts happening, you obviously saw all those other teams pass on him four or 5 times in the draft. He might end up no.
The passion for the talk of NFL quarterbacks, what makes a good one. I love. It's so interesting listening to all of these talking heads sort of spit out what they think makes a good NFL quarterback, where they're being drafted, and it's just every year there's just a handful of them that you would want on your team. They're unicorns. It's tough getting a really good quarterback.
And even when you draft these guys, just same thing with Cam Ward. The hit rate on drafted quarterbacks is less than 50%. You really just don't know until you get them. And you can watch all the film, and you can have the interviews, you can do whatever, and it's just like you still don't know until you put a team around him and get him on the field. So, I mean, unfortunate for him that he slid that far. It's actually unfortunate for him that, in my opinion, that he landed on the Browns. I heard he didn't cost himself, but he lost out on like $37 million worth of salary. I don't know if it was 37 or 40. So it was something like that in salary that he would have gotten as a first-round draft pick versus being when he was taken with the 144th pick. But, dude, it is what it is.
Another big name to watch.
Yeah.
Sanders. I was just saying, it's just another.
Yeah.
It's just another big name to watch.
I thought you were going to come at me with someone else. So, okay, so those are some of the big stories going into the draft. I'm talking about the Pats draft specifically.
Yeah, let's do it.
Get to some of the other stuff. So, this kid, Trevion Henderson, seems like
dude. What do you like about him? Let's start with Randy.
Like he, second best run back in the draft from what I see. Like it's a steal to get him at 30. From what I've read.
Yeah. I read the steal part. You know what I ended up seeing when I saw the tape is you all of a sudden start researching the guy, and you're like, all right, he's projected to go here. Wow, okay, all right, we got him here. Holy cow, he protects the line of scrimmage. This kid can pick up a blitz, and he's like an angry guy picking up the blitz. And I heard several GMs make comments about how the Pats pickup of that kid was actually probably one of the better blocking running backs. But also, like, you get this kid in space, and he's 75 yards in like 5 seconds. Like, some of that stuff was really impressive. And now that we have Josh back, you got that short stuff, the screen stuff. We've got a third down back, maybe a guy that can be on the field a couple more plays per down, where it's like at any point he could bust one, but he also, and this was like a Bill thing, if you come in, don't fumble, block blitzes, make plays, this is that guy.
At first, when I saw him, I picked up Stevenson. Not like we have so many weapons. I guess he's one of them. He's not like he's so good, but it's good. In this league, it's good to have more than one running back, and he seemed like the guy to take in the moment. Again, not letting your needs dictate things, but like if he's the best guy on the board, like, take him, and we can definitely use him. I actually like how they use their first 3 picks on offensive positions because the next guy they got, Kyle Williams, seems like a good pick for a 3rd rounder.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about getting another potential weapon for Drake.
I was a little disappointed in the size of him just because I already judge our room rather short with Diggs, Pop. Those guys are sub 6 foot guys. I kind of wanted like a 6'2" type of burner guy, but so again, I dove in on the tape, and I mean, there's several pieces of film of him just cruising past Travis Hunter when Hunter was covering him at corner.
So hear what you're saying about the height piece, and I was listening to some other stuff, reading some other stuff, and it's like it might just be best to have like the fast guys,
Yeah.
instead of those. I mean, the 6'2" guys. When is there really like a 6'2" burner? That's Randy Moss. You know what I mean? Outside of that, it's like a 6'2" possession receiver, and you get the keel hit parry, and it doesn't pay off. It's like maybe it's best to just have small guys, or not small guys, but just like not huge guys that are freaking burners in general. And speed kind of kills it in the NFL, especially with receivers right now.
We got some issues at the wide receiver position as far as like numbers are concerned. We've got too many guys. A couple of those guys are going to have to go.
And it's not like they're all studs, Like, yeah, I feel like there's potential on that wide receiver room, but we'll see how it all.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's like you wasted pick on Polk and Baker last year. Now you have this young kid. You have a couple other guys returning. It's like maybe you could slip a guy on the practice squad, but it's like somebody's going to go. I'm kind of feeling like depending on how Diggs is at the start of the season, maybe Bourne's not with us.
Yep.
Yeah. Guy like that just gets moved, 7th round draft pick.
Yeah, see you later. Thanks for coming.
Yep.
I don't know what else you think about other guys, but this guy, Braden Swinson from LSU, the edge rusher, got him in the 5th round. Looks like he'd be a great 5th round pickup. That's the thing about the NFL. You can get some like legit studs in 4th and 5th rounds too. So Nature Report rated as an A+ draft, which I thought was very interesting because there are only 2 A+ drafts: the Raiders and Pats. So what is that? I don't remember the last time that we've had like a legit A+ graded draft by a place like that.
It's so the blanket thought that I have is you improve the room at wide receiver, running back also. We got a center that actually has some athletic numbers that are off the chart. I could possibly play some guard. We have a left guard position open right now, even though we have like 3 guys that could play it. We just signed the kid from the Vikings to play center for us. This appears to be the kid that's going to take his job eventually. The edge rusher, the nose tackle. We got a kicker from Miami. Granted, he's kicking in warm weather. Can he kick, in colder weather? Hopefully we didn't screw that up, by the way. That's like the 3rd kicker we've drafted in a couple years. Overall, I like the drafts. Does it perform is another thing. I don't want to dominate this like Pats talk here, but you have a positive with Vrabel, a direction. You have an offensive coordinator that's probably not going anywhere because he's lost his ability to earn, head coaching jobs moving forward. So you have kind of like the best case scenario of like head coach, offensive coordinator. They're collaborating. They're bringing in guys that they know they're going to coach for years. So, dude, what a turnaround for us. This is kind of like the ground floor of us enjoying Sundays again.
I couldn't agree more. It was a dark day when we lost that Week 18 game. But since then, I think it's good. It's considered it would have been better to have lost that game and end up with the number 1 pick and either get, someone or trade down and get a whole bunch of things. But outside of that, I think we made some good coaching decisions, had a solid draft, got a couple, got some free agent stuff, and I think we're moving in the right direction, which is nice.
And we have $60-something million still, so it's like some of these guys that we're going to have to pay the next couple of years, we're going to have a rollover. And as the cap increases, hopefully we could actually retain these guys, if they're good.
So I don't want to spend the whole pod talking about the draft because we've already done 20 minutes, holy cow. But the last thing I say about it is, I saw this a lot on social media, it was like, I don't really see the draft as a thing that I would want to go to in person. What are your thoughts on that? Like, I don't know. dude, they were saying there's like 200,000 people there per day. And I'm just like, what? Why? Like, I don't know. Just to me, it seems like on the list of, and I like going to things, like I like experiencing things and being
Yeah.
at things, but
Yeah.
like that seems like it's on the last on my list of things to go check out.
It feels like going to Times Square to watch the ball drop to me.
Yeah.
It's like cool.
So
You're
I've
there.
done that before, and I agree. I was 20 years old at the time. But even that, you can at least say you did it once. But the draft,
Yeah.
yeah. I heard some talk about. I mean, they've been bouncing around the teams that are hosting the drafts. I wouldn't be surprised if the Pats got it at some point because it seems like the good weather teams get the Super Bowl and the crap weather teams get the draft. So it might end up in Foxborough at some point. I don't know that I would be there for it.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of time standing around waiting for your team to pick a guy that you hope is something good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It just seems, honestly, and I don't know if there's a lot of fights there or not, but it seems like plenty of drinking and just a bunch of people from all kinds of different teams and people yelling at each other. And it just doesn't seem like the best thing. It's just kind of funny what they've turned it into, where they make a whole night one out of just the first round, and then another night out of two more rounds. And then the fact that people even go to the Saturday draft seems ridiculous to me because at that point, no one really knows anybody. And it's just in the middle of a Saturday.
Last thought on it. Does young Randy and young Chris go to that? Absolutely. Does Randy in his smoking jacket and slippers wanting to kick back on his couch in his basement want to go anymore?
As if it's funny that you would actually think I'd be kicking back. I actually think that that's funny to think that I would be kicking back off. What's kicking back? But
Right.
that's the draft, dude. So, anyways, semi fired up for the football season. Going to move on from football for the next few months as I enjoy some basketball. But it was cool. I'm glad it's over and done with. Could probably do with a little bit less hype leading up to it, but
Yep.
it happened. It was cool. Fired up about the Pats. Ready to revisit it in the summertime. So, anything else you want to add on the draft? You good?
Yeah, let's move on. Let's go with basketball.
NBA playoffs right now. So, where do we go? We're a couple weeks into things. The first round is winding down. Celtics closed out the Magic last night. Won the series 4-1.
Yeah.
That game did not look good last night to start the game. Like I thought it was actually like a worst case scenario
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
I didn't think we weren't going to necessarily win, but we didn't hit any threes in the first half for the first time since like 2021. Third game season that a team hasn't hit a 3-point in the first half. It was just like, and then we freaking turned it on like we were capable of doing and dominated the second half. So that was cool.
Magic are sneaky. The defensive rating of that team, I think they were the second best in the league. They're dogs. Actually, that's a really nice young up and coming team. The '08 team, I'll never forget this. They had to go through the Atlanta Hawks in the first round, and it was like a worst case matchup. I kind of feel the same way about this matchup with the Magic. But man, we got past it, and what you're starting to see too with Tatum, this is a shout out to Tatum because I've always been judgmental of Tatum. Tatum is starting to figure out that area of like removing himself from that. I'm just going to kind of dance around here and be a facilitator to, okay, I need to be the alpha right now.
I do see that in him too. Like he's kind of going next level, which is great.
Yeah.
Little Darth Tatum coming right back to one of our older pods.
Darth Tatum.
Yeah, I think Magic. I don't know what our record is specifically, but I feel like the Magic beat us a couple times this year, and I feared that maybe they're one of our kryptonite teams.
Yeah.
It's hard for that, like the worst team to win a 7-game series, but I am glad to get past them in not dominating fashion, but I'm glad it wasn't a 6-game series or a 7-game series. Here we are. We had Cleveland freaking beating the Heat by 50 points the other night, and just very much dominating their series. It's nice to not be like again going down to Game 7 when they're just dominating their series.
A pivot to the Lakers, if you want.
Let's do it. That's a big series. It's going to finish up. It's been a good matchup so far.
So my eyes, the last couple of weeks of the season, I caught some of those games. I still can't believe they were gifted Luka. That team is talented, but it has some holes. And like my eyes were telling me, like, look, this is nice right now, but playoff basketball is different, and it's being exposed right now.
Well, they're not big enough. And Luka's putting up points, but I don't know. It seems like, I listened to a podcast earlier. It's like, who would you rather have? Who'd you rather have? Luka or Anthony Edwards for the next 5 years. And like I think, beginning of the season, the question is Luka, but the answer is Luka. But it seems like Ant is maybe the guy now. He's freaking. He had a dunk a few games ago, man. I was just like, oh my god. He's a great 3-point shooter. Guy doesn't stop. I feel like he might be the answer.
Ben Carroll is pretty interesting where you have these young guys that they look like men already and they play like men. Paulo Ben Carroll for the Magic. This has like been the case for Ant the second he came in. That's been like my negative with Tatum because you saw with Tatum he needed to grow into that guy. I would take Anthony Edwards all day over Luka for several reasons. Like he's going to get the loose ball, he's going to go after that rebound, he's going to talk shit and get in somebody's head. He's got some Kobe in him. Luka, I understand why Dallas traded Luka. You could see it. You could really see it, but it's still one of those things where it's like I can't believe they got him for a bag of freaking headbands and a thing of basketballs. But dude, I'm taking the scenic way to say it's Ant. Sorry.
But Wolves are up 3-1 right now. Man,
Yep.
Lakers had a chance at the end. I don't know if you were watching the game, but LeBron took like a pretty deep three with not much time left. And if it would have went in, it would have probably been like a dagger, but he missed it. And then T-Wolves ended up winning the game. There's just, I don't know, man. It seems like it's inevitable at this point. I don't think that the Lakers can come back from being down 3-1. They've struggled to get to even where they are right now. Got blown out the first game. So I kind of see that moving on. So,
Yeah.
Just to kind of refocus like where we're at right now, Cleveland's into the second round. Indiana beat the Bucks the other day, so they're going to be playing each other in the next round. Looks like what some people say might be into the Giannis era in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
He's under contract, but the way it ended is not good. Dame blew out his Achilles. They just had no real fight in them at the end, and they don't have any draft picks. And it just might be one of those scenarios where it's best to unload Giannis, get a bunch of stuff in return, and kind of start the rebuild. At least it feels that way to some people. So Indiana's frisky, dude.
Yeah, dude. They gave us a hard time last year. That's kind of what I felt with Orlando. Orlando was Indiana of last year.
Yeah.
Indy's tough.
I'm glad that we're not playing Indiana. I'm glad it's Cleveland and them that get to beat each other up. And then that kind of brings us to the Knicks Pistons, which they're still finishing up that series right now. And I think let's see.
3-2, I believe.
2 New York. And they're going to Detroit. I mean, I guess, honestly, Detroit could win it and force a game 7, but either way, I'm not necessarily worried about who comes out of that series, at least for the Celtics. As a Celtics fan, I guess anything could happen.
Detroit got screwed out of a W the other night when they were shooting a 3 in the corner pocket. For the old heads that are listening to this, there was something in the 80s where Kevin McHale was called for a goaltend, Detroit Boston, and it just completely flipped that series. Beneficial call for Detroit. This is payback, by the way, you Detroit fans. Enjoy it.
I just lost.
Yeah, man, I derailed us with that. Sorry about that.
No, I lost the website I was looking at. So besides that, we also have the Rockets Warriors with freaking Warriors are gonna win the series. They're up 3-1 over Houston, was a solid number two seed, but it just might be one of those scenarios where this is the beginning for the Rockets. Like they could be building towards something, and kind of like Celtics earlier on, or a lot of teams they kind of get you get into the first round, you have a really good regular season, and then you just don't go to the next level, but you regroup and then you keep going further and further. They probably have a pretty bright future, and I hear about them as a Giannis potential destination, but it looks like somehow, man, Steph's going to do it again and win that series, barring something crazy.
I like it. I like your thought with that. You mentioned the Celtics real quick. Houston reminds me of the Isaiah Thomas-led Celtics. It was really nice. They were building something nice. They won a bunch of games, but they're playing the alphas. The Warriors have alphas, and it's an alpha league, and Houston's going to have the result of not having the alpha in the room. So,
but that's how you build alphas.
Yep.
I guess it's just part of the progression. But Steph, man, is this how many more years left do you think Steph has?
So he's 37 years old. I was going to ask you that when we were talking about the Lakers. Like, LeBron is still putting up big games, in playoff games. It's like Steph is doing the same thing. I if you keep yourself in shape, he's got 3 more years of dropping 20 plus a game, right? Playing 65 games, throwing up a bunch of good games in the playoffs, just kind of keeping them relevant.
Yeah, I would love that. I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know what he's capable of doing. I cannot believe he's still doing what he's doing at his age now. The thing about it is, if you watch Steph, he's just all over the place, trying to like get around picks and just moving around. Like, the shooting part will probably never leave him, but like, he needs to work to get the ball and get himself some shots. Like, I just don't know if he'll be able to keep doing that. But at this point, who freaking knows? With the way him and LeBron are, the league's different now with health and stuff. So maybe he keeps it going. I think it's better when him and LeBron are in the league. So hopefully they can keep competing for a little bit. Nuggets Clippers. That one is still ongoing, and a lot of people thought the Clippers were going to win this series, but the Nuggets have managed to, like, they got a close win the other day. They won last night. They're up 3-2. Like, Jokic is freaking insane, and they're probably going to win this series, despite what everyone thought.
Yeah, I like what they said the other day about Kawhi. Kawhi is like he's been injured and it's been a bummer because he's had that sort of mark against him. Kawhi just shows up. He doesn't flop. He doesn't bitch. He just plays hard, gets it done. He's the type of guy you want on your team, a healthy guy on your team. And I was actually surprised the Clippers, for a short period of time, had a stranglehold on that series. But yeah, I mean, here we are again. Jokic, the Joker.
It's 3-2, so anything could happen, and they could still. I mean, I was just talking to my brother the other day about how the C's were up 3-2 against the Lakers in, what was it, 2010? So it's not like it's impossible to come back down 3-2, but it seems like it could be another missed opportunity for the Clippers. Did I bring back a bad memory for you?
Dude, that's why I'm laughing right now. Let everybody know, Randy.
Just, hey, we were watching the Game 7 at my house, and you had enough, man. You just freaking left in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was bullshit, I will say, because we were up, I think, 14 points, and again, we were up in the series 3-2. So, like, how was this slipping away? You just had enough. But that's what I think back to when I think of that series.
Well, that's the thing when you watch so much sports, you just see like momentum. You just see it coming. And, Derek, I remember Derek hit this like stupid 3-pointer. Then all of a sudden, Meta World Peace hit one. And then there was a block on Pal Gasol, but it looked like he actually went up and down. I couldn't. So to the viewers, I'm sitting in Randy's bonus room. It's me, Tangway, Randy, and I just lost my shit. I probably said a bunch of swear words, got up, and just left.
Me and Tang watched it, and it was brutal. But I bring that up because being up 3-2 isn't this like it isn't. Being up 3-1 is a little bit different. Obviously, being up 3-0 is even bigger. But like coming back from 3-2, it could end up being a good series. But I do know that a lot of people thought that the Clippers were one of the better teams in the West, and that the Nuggets just didn't seem to have it. But also, Jamal Murray's been freaking playing his ass off too, and had some like really legit games that he hasn't shown really in a while, or he doesn't show that frequently. So if you get what you've been getting out of Jamal Murray like all year, then Clippers probably easily win. I think he put up like 46 points the other day. Had like a really good game. So they might just get hot at the right time, which is very important in sports.
Who gets out of the West?
Well, I mean, that goes to the next team where it seems like OKC are playing a different game right now. They're the only team that's into the second round right now. They freaking hated the Grizzlies. They are a very, very good team. So I don't know that anyone can get past OKC, including the Celtics out of the East or Cleveland out of the East. So they're looking really good. So I think that OKC's going to play the winner of the Nuggets and Clippers. And it's probably going to be Warriors versus Minnesota, which will be fun to watch. But I think either team loses to OKC, then it's just a matter of if Cleveland or Boston gets out of the East, then it might be their year. What do you think?
Dark horse for the Greek because they have so many assets still. Their cap is not hell. Just want to throw that out there because I don't know that they're going to win it this year because I still think if Boston's healthy, Boston gets out of the East. I still like that matchup for Boston. That's with Holiday healthy.
They're still playing them, which is fine. I'm okay with Holiday not playing. this series and just getting him healthy for future series. But we do need him if we're going to compete with a team like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like JB's knee's got to be fine. So let's say best case scenario for the Celtics, I still like them beating OKC. I don't think it's going to be an easy beat. And if it does play out the way that I hope, I really do see OKC as a team that could take a look at the Milwaukee Bucks and the Greek and think, all right, this is the piece actually that puts us over the top with their assets. Just a sneaky little side piece for me with all of this.
They do have some assets. There's no doubt about that. So as far as the playoffs finish up, I think, in my opinion, it's OKC out of the West, and then either Cleveland and Boston out of the East. And, Celtics are still the champs, so everyone has to go through them eventually, but it does seem like those are two young, solid, well put together teams with some great players and some great depth. So I think the playoffs have been awesome so far. I'm looking forward to the next round. I mean, it only gets better as you go on. So I'm all in for the next month and a half or so of all this.
Darth Tatum, man. We need Darth Tatum.
I don't want to get into Celtic City too much because I talked about it with Matt on another pod. I just reported to be released soon. But, we're freaking lucky with the Celtics, man. What an incredible, multi-decade run. And we're in the middle of another one of those eras. And it's awesome to have Tatum and Brown. It's awesome to have all the other guys that we have. Just trying to enjoy this in the moment.
It's great where it's this one little thing where Danny Ainge remembers playing with an aging Bird and McHale, remembers the rumors of Sam Perkins and Detlef Schrempf when they were playing for the Dallas Mavericks. There was a Kevin McHale 2-for-1 swap that was on the table, and Red didn't do it. And Danny needles that decision to this day. And I guess ultimately Danny's decision to get rid of Pierce and KG extended this run for us now. And Brad Stevens is, nailing the Derek White and the Drew Holidays and the Kristaps Porzingis trades. It's been awesome, man. But it's not luck. It's guys are good at their jobs, and we've been lucky that we've had some guys good at their jobs.
I hope we can keep in that role for his career and make him be a thing. Red and Danny, those guys are freaking unbelievable, and Brad's doing a good job too. But I think it really starts with that. We've made some good moves. So I'm just trying to enjoy these playoff runs because you just don't know, man. You just don't know. I mean, we could be that's all over again.
Yeah.
Where you're just you don't know, you don't even see what the potential of winning a championship. And we're lucky to have as good a team as we can. So it's been a ton of fun.
There's one little piece that I want to be right about is that everybody's talking about us having to shed some salary, but nobody's talking about the fact that when you send out a player, you have to send in a player with a comparable salary slot. I believe it's under 10% now. So it's everybody keeps saying we need to break up our team, but it's a billionaire just bought us. Swapping out players in a trade now, it's what's the benefit to save on the cap? I just think they continue to roll it out there. And this guy just says, screw it. I'm going to take a loss leader for a couple of years. I'm going to enjoy this run, and I'll make my money on the back end.
Hope so. Dude, I hope so. Okay, that's all my thoughts on basketball stuff. You want to pivot to baseball for a few minutes before we wrap it up? We one more thing afterwards. But so I'm back. I'm a Sox guy. I'm a baseball guy again. It's been nice to be back. Got Nesson even. Should have paid $30 a month for freaking Nesson now. I'm back. Been following the Sox, and it's been fun. I mean, they're up and down team.
Yeah.
But that's baseball. They're 17-14 right now. It's tricky. You have good series and bad series. I'm actually pretty optimistic on the team, all things considered. What are your thoughts on the Sox?
Fun to watch.
Great
young pitching that's developing. Bello, Crochet, a couple other pieces in there. I just keep thinking, even though this is fun to watch right now, Mayer and Ronaldo coming up. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying from the minors? As much as we have a fun team to watch right now, I can't wait to see those two come in. Those two are going to be awesome.
So the future is bright, which is great. And but our offense is, I thought we put up some runs yesterday. Bregman's hitting bombs, Devers hitting bombs. I mean, Durant had a bomb the other day, but we're hitting the ball. Rayu's having a great season. Cassis, that freaking bomb has actually got a couple hits lately. And Wolf's freaking great rookie. What's going on? It's
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've known so many names on a Red Sox roster.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to be following it and seeing what they're doing.
I know, and I just screwed up. I called him Ronaldo. Roman Anthony. I just can't wait to see him come up. That kid's hitting bombs
That's a
right
great. I'm
now.
like, because I'm not as into the farm system as you, but I was wondering what you were talking about.
Well, you know where I'm at is like I'm at the phase where you are. I was a big Red Sox guy, and I went many years of like not paying attention to prospects. Like I used to geek out on it. So now it's like my defaults with the names I'm still digging for a second. But yeah, those two are going to be fun.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing those teams and seeing, just seeing all the guys on the team and just that's the great thing about the Sea Dogs Red Sox relationship. Guys that have played there, move up, and I'm kind of all in on it for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but it's been fun to just have Nesson on the background, watch games, know everyone that's coming up. But like, I'm excited about the next next time we play the Yankees because we're only
Yeah.
down so we're a game and a half behind. So we're 17-14, second in the East. The record is not that far off from the best teams in the rest of the league. So I think we're right where we would want to be. It'd be nice to get in the playoffs and see what happens.
It used to mean something to be a Red Sox fan, and I think that's coming back. I think that's a big part of it for me.
So I don't know. I don't have too much to say about it other than the season's early. We're a month into it, and so far it's been fun. And again, I'm looking forward to that Yankees series because it's been a while since I've been excited for a baseball series like that. So, anything you want to add baseball wise?
Baseball wise, let's just see the weather warm up a little bit more, the bats warm up a little bit more, and I'm loving the Bregman signing.
Oh, yeah. Did you see that freaking catch by the Toronto guy last night in center
It's kind
field?
of it's kind of funny, wasn't it? It's like a blooper to a highlight reel.
Guy rolls over. Center field's running straight back. I think Durant drove the ball pretty nice. He was warning tracks dead center field. Center fielder runs over his head, falls down, rolls over, and then somehow has his back to the ball and throws his left hand up behind it. And he somehow went right in his spot. It was one of the more loud catches I'd seen in a while. But cool.
That was athletic. As the great Charles Barkley would say, it's athletic.
Okay, last thing I want to talk to you about before wrapping up.
Okay. I've been waiting for this.
I can't wait to hear what you think. Is Bill Belichick ruining his legacy?
I think I should let you start.
I think he is. I think he is. It's not so bad that it takes away from everything that he's done, but it's not the ideal way for him to be finishing up his career. In a sense, it reminds me of Robert Kraft a little bit, where it's a dude that has had such an impact on my life and caused so much enjoyment for me from a sports point of view and a fan point of view.
Yeah.
It's just you see him kind of losing it at the end. That's the way I feel with Robert Kraft. He's aged, made some poor decisions, hasn't been a great owner the past few years. And I still have all this love for him, but at the same time, I'm kind of oh man, just look at him differently. And now with Belichick, it's dude, what are you doing? What are you doing with this stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the reason I asked the question is because of the interview that kind of came out on CBS just the other day, where she kept interjecting herself or kind of breaking it up, which is strange. She's CC'd on all the emails. She's on the field in her freaking high heels. It's weird. It's like she's controlling. What does she have on him? How can he allow this to happen?
So, what does she have on him, Randy? That's why I let you go first. I'm going to try to say this without really sounding bad. So first of all, she's Bill's PR person. So it's not uncommon for a PR person to interrupt an interview if something's being said that the PR person doesn't like. That PR person in this case just happens to be the girlfriend.
Is she?
Yeah, she is his PR person.
Yeah, but is she an established, shrewd PR person, or
no? This is Bill having Matt Patricia run the offense. This is the comparable here. So Randy asked the question, what does she have on Bill?
She's a 24-year-old girl.
Yeah, and it's I don't want to ruin the podcast by going off on that, but he's an older guy. He's got a younger girl. You could do the math on what that means for the whole equation, and it's just leaking over into this area where if he's gonna do this with this young girl, he's got to separate her from some of the stuff that leaks into the Belichick Inc. area, right? To your point, it's it's like, and I also saw the video too of her in her white heels and with the longer jacket walking out to him on the field. So, Bill, you're hypocritical because now you have all social medias, and here's a girl just walking out that could be probably a granddaughter at this point. So the optics of it doesn't look good. It sucks, man. It sucks. It sucks for Bill. It sucks for us. It sucks for everything that we think about when it comes to Bill. On a positive note, because I'm going to try to be positive about this. Yeah, big positive guy. I looked at the transfer portal. He's got 31 transfers so far, so I think that's top 3 so far. So it's like, I feel like he's building a good football team. We need some of this stuff to go away.
I don't need the video of Belichick doing the thing on the beach with him on his back and her on his feet or whatever, and like that's like a TikTok pose I would do with like my daughter or something like that. It's like,
yeah,
Bill Belichick, man. It's like, I don't need this. I don't want to see that. And it's just weird. It's weird, and then when you combine it with everything else that's going on, you're just like, what is going on?
Well, so you and I grew up with the girls next door, like the Playboy owner there, Hefner. You know, that show semi made it normal to see younger women with older guys, and it's just the whole time it didn't look normal, you know. And in the background you have DiCaprio, who always seems to just break up with a 19-year-old 3 years in and just get another 19-year-old, and every year he's gaining 3 years. So it's in my mind too with Leo. I'm like, we're only a couple years away from Leo looking weird with his next 21-year-old girlfriend. Bill is 73. It sucks.
It's not even like the age part. It's obviously a little bit strange. You know, you don't see it all the time, but I mean, he's famous. He's Bill Belichick. It's not that crazy. I mean, Robert Kraft is way older than him, and he has I think she might be 40-year-old wife now or something like that.
Linda Paluzzi with Henry over there in Fenway Park. I mean, I think she's like 30-something years younger than him.
But that stuff's, I mean, it's the tiniest bit weird just because of the age difference, but it's not that weird given the context of these people having famous, being money and power and all that stuff.
They're grown-ups.
All the other stuff is like bizarre. Just the social media stuff and just the way that girl's interjected herself into his life and just everything. It'd be one thing if you expect that from Bill Belichick, but it's like the complete opposite of what you would expect from Bill Belichick. So just it makes it that much stranger. And dude, I don't know. We'll do this pod another freaking 6 months, and who knows what the hell happened. We'll probably have a sex tape out and joint freaking clothing line, freaking Target come out or something. Like,
yeah,
everything's on the table with them.
I was just going to ask, how does this end, in your opinion?
I don't think it ends good.
Okay. I've played this question over in my head a bunch of times. I bet we see this girl with him for the next 10 years.
Because he can't. You know, I kind of see that. Like, okay, so if it was going to end, it would be very bad to the way that it's just not going to end because it's just easier for it to not end.
Yeah. Hey, what an excellent way to end the podcast. I hope people hung in.
You never know, dude. You never know. But either way, I had fun talking about it. So, thanks.
Yes.
If you are listening to this, if someone is listening to this right now on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the podcast. I would appreciate it. Vince, would you appreciate that?
Absolutely, man.
You would
I like
appreciate
doing
it.
this.
If you're on Spotify or Apple, follow the podcast too. That would be awesome as well. You can share it if you're feeling a little bit frisky too. That'd be cool. But definitely had fun talking about all these things. A lot of sports stuff to look forward to over the next few months.
Yeah, next time we hop on, we're going to have the results of the NBA playoffs. Bill will still be with us.
We won't be like complete, but we'll be like probably approaching the finals at least.
Yeah, we'll actually have something pretty big to talk about. So
it's always something to talk about, dude. So, all right, let's wrap it up there, and we'll do it again in a month, though.
Thanks for listening, everyone.